is unknown in the universe. You hear of it. Big unknowns like dark matter and dark energy. Two hugely mysterious pieces of modern astrophysics that are unresolved.
Right.
And they're not little, they're big.
Okay.
You add them together, it's 96% of what is driving this universe, and we have no clue what it is.
That's insane.
No clue.
That makes me feel like we're the mistake here. I'm just saying.
Because we're not the majority
we're
of what's going on.
Yeah, when 97% of the stuff that's there is not you, you probably don't belong there.
Damn, Chuck.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Anyhow, so we can measure them. It's not a mystery that it's there.
That is there.
All right. We can measure their existence. We don't know what it is.
What it is.
All right. And there's precedent for that. We knew about the spectra of stars as soon as we were able to bring a spectroscope to the telescope.
Okay,
So there's interesting information here. We don't understand it, but we know it must be important. It's different for this star than that star. Oh, these two stars match. Let's make a catalog of all the spectra. Later, we would learn quantum physics, and we could then interpret what was going on. And thus was the birth of our modern understanding of stellar evolution. The first steps are the measurements. So it's not so weird that we have measurements and don't know what it is.
Right.
So there's not only that, there are other questions that are just simply yet to be answered, as opposed to mysteries. So one of them is what was around before the Big Bang?
That's a big
It might have been a multiverse, but even if there is a multiverse, what was around before the multiverse? Okay. And we don't yet know how Earth went from organic molecules to self-replicating life.
Right.
All right. Earth figured it out. We haven't figured that out yet.
Right.
Granted, Earth took a couple 100 million years. All right.
Yeah.
And we're trying to do it in the lab overnight.
Right.
But still, that's a mystery.
And who knows how many failures over that couple 100 million years Earth had.
Good point.
You know?
Because they ain't left.
Well, they're not there.
They're not there. They didn't survive. So if you lean religious, you will see these mysteries as where God might reside.
Yes.
God is operating there.
Right.
And there's a long tradition of this, actually, but philosophers got wise to it, and they came up with the term for it. We've mentioned it on a couple of other of our explainers. God of the gaps.
God of the gaps.
The God of the gaps.
It's a very powerful concept.
And it's got the alliteration, so it kind of stuck with people. So it's the urge to declare that if there's something you don't understand about the universe, that God must be there with the puppet strings or with the forcing of what's going on.
Right.
And my favorite God of the Gaps moment, can I tell you that? It was Ptolemy.
Okay.
Claudius Ptolemy, AD 150, in the margin of his greatest work, the Almagest.
Right.
Okay? Actually, just Almagest.
Right.
Which is Arabic for
math. Hi, I wrote a book called Math. Guess what's in it?
Almagest is the greatest. It's an Arabic translation of the greatest.
That's so cool.
And he masterfully codified the epicycles that he was sure planets traced in the sky.
Really?
With Earth in the middle of the known universe.
Oh.
There's no other way to account for planets going backwards and
forwards.
With retrograde. We have words for it even.
Right.
Goes backwards, retrograde.
Right.
We think the planet's actually doing that.
That's why your washing machine's not working. Because Mercury's in retrograde. Your phone stopped working? It's not gremlins. It's Mercury in retrograde.
I don't think Mercury cares about inanimate objects. I think it only cares about people.
It speaks so highly of you. How could you say that?
So he does this, but it's still kind of a mystery. Why would all that happen?
Exactly.
He's just doing it. I can account for it with my little epicycles. And he wrote in his margins, as I trace the windings to and fro of the heavenly bodies, I no longer touch earth with my feet. I stand in the presence of Zeus himself and take my fill of ambrosia.
Damn, he was just wrong on many accounts. he didn't even get the right God. He went with Zeus.
He's Greek. He's Greek, okay?
Yeah, no,
so
I get
give
it.
the man his religion.
All right.
Don't take away his religion.
Right.
And so that, for me, was the crowning moment of God of the Gaps.
Right.
All right. So there are people who, to this day...
Which, by the way, I mean, before you go further, that's another iteration of how we experience God. He understood something was going on, but it inspired awe within him. And whenever somebody feels that sense of awe, they often want to attribute that to God.
Correct, because it's beyond their grasp.
Right.
So it's been going on forever.
Right.
This urge.
Yeah.
Okay. My caution there is if that's how you define God, where science has yet to tread,
Right.
then God to you is an ever receding pocket of scientific ignorance.
The discussion begins with a look at the unknown. Tyson acknowledges that modern astrophysics has huge holes in it. We don't know what dark matter is. We don't know what dark energy is. Together, they make up about 95% of the universe. Now, to a religious mind, this is prime real estate. If you are prone to magical thinking, you look at that 95% of mystery and say, aha, that's where God is hiding. Tyson identifies this efficiently as the God of the gaps. This is a term coined by theologians who realize that pinning your faith on scientific ignorance is a losing strategy. The argument goes, I can't explain X, therefore God did it. The problem, as Tyson explains with the example of Claudius Ptolemy, is that the gaps keep getting smaller. Ptolemy in the 2nd century looked at the planets moving in the sky. He couldn't explain why they sometimes moved backward, retrograde motion. It was a mystery. So what did he do? He wrote in the margins of his work that when he traces these stars, he stands in the presence of Zeus himself. He invoked the divine to explain the complex. But we know today that it wasn't Zeus. It was just orbital mechanics. We solved it. We filled that gap. Tyson's warning here is profound for any believer. If that's how you define God, where science has yet to tread, then God to you is an ever-receding pocket of scientific ignorance. Think about the implications of that. If your God only lives in the things we don't understand yet, then every time a scientist publishes a paper, your God gets smaller. Every time we cure a disease, discover a particle, or map a genome, we are effectively evicting the divine from another room in the house of reality. It's a theology of retreat. Tyson mentions that we don't know how life began from organic molecules. That's true, it's a mystery. But just like the planetary motion, just because we don't know yet doesn't mean a wizard did it. It just means we have more work to do.
All right. There are people who, they're not falling for the God of the gaps.
Right.
To them, God is everything.
Yeah.
Gaps and no gaps.
Right.
Okay? So that God, that's a different God. Okay? That's not just a God who's lurks.
Right.
Because science is an ever-moving frontier. Right. One day we'll figure out dark matter, dark energy, and what happens to your God if that's what it was. All right?
Right. Okay.
So the people who say God is everything, that resembles greatly Spinoza's God. He suggested that the very order of the universe, the operations of nature, everything we see, feel, and experience is God.
Okay. And now I know a lot of people who feel that.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. So that would be Spinoza's God. And when Einstein was asked, does he believe in God? He said, if there's a God I believe in at all, I'm paraphrasing, it's Spinoza's God. Okay?
Right.
That's a different God from a God that is paying attention to your behavior. So as you come from that posture to gods that are more engaged with you and your existence,
Personally involved,
then these would be gods you pray to.
Okay.
You wouldn't pray to Spinoza's God. I just want to make it clear to people that when they say God,
right,
God has very different meanings to different people.
Here, the conversation shifts to a necessary definition of terms. When an atheist says, I don't believe in God, and a believer says, I do, they are often talking about two completely different concepts. Tyson brings up Spinoza's God. This is the God that Albert Einstein often referenced. It is not a gray-bearded man in the sky tallying up your sins. It is a metaphor for the laws of nature. It is the sum total of the order and beauty of the universe. If you want to call the laws of physics God, then sure, God exists, but that God doesn't care if you eat pork. That God doesn't care who you sleep with. That God doesn't listen to football games and decide who wins. The conflict arises, as Tyson notes, when people confuse Spinoza's abstract God with the personal God. The personal God is the one who intervenes, the one who breaks the laws of physics to do you a favor. Tyson makes it clear. You wouldn't pray to Spinoza's God. It would be like praying to gravity. Gravity is consistent, it's powerful, it holds us together, but it's not going to save you if you jump off a cliff just because you asked nicely. This distinction is crucial for us as skeptics. When religious apologists try to debate, they often use the Spinoza God to prove a creator exists. For example, the universe has order, but then they immediately switch to the personal God to tell you how to live your life. It's a bait and switch. Tyson refuses to let that slide.
This universe is so amazing. There had to be a God, an intelligence behind it.
The intelligent design people.
So in that case, they're not looking at a rock and saying there's intelligence behind it.
Right.
They're looking at something more complicated than they can understand.
Right.
And saying, there's the intelligence.
Right.
All right. They look at the operations of a cell.
Yes.
All that going on in something that's microscopic.
Exactly.
They're just amazed by it. They're in awe, of it. And so surely God is at work around here.
Yeah.
Now, so one of them that went around for a while, and I found it very unconvincing. It was the laws of physics are exactly the way they need to be for us to be alive.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, okay. If they were slightly different, then we wouldn't be here. Like if the charge on the electron or the value of the gravitational constant or the speed of light, you know, things like that. And they all configure to make matter and energy come together such that we can be alive in that universe.
Right.
Okay.
I mean, there's some people that even on a macro level, they're like, we live in the Goldilocks zone of these planets, and the other planets are dead as far as we're concerned.
As far as we know. That's
as
right.
far as we know.
So with all of these parameters in just the right way, in just the right place, people who are lean religious refer to it as the fine-tuning argument.
Interesting. Okay.
Everything's fine-tuned to produce life, human life.
Right.
Now, so
He's a God of precision that has placed things in this perfect configuration, kind of synchronicity.
Yes.
That all the gears mesh and everything works so that we get life.
And we pop out. Exactly.
Right.
I don't argue the fact that we have constants of nature that if they were slightly different, we wouldn't be here. I don't have an argument against that.
I mean, that's...
But my argument, however, is if whoever created the universe, if there's such an entity that did, why make a universe where we didn't show up for 13.8 billion years?
Right.
Not only that, Earth was not born until the universe was already 8-9 billion years old.
Right.
And then life begins, single-celled organisms. Is this the God of that life? Okay. But that was 3.8 billion years ago. Humans in our current form last, 100,000 years or so, go to a million years, which is a drop in the bucket relative to the 4 billion.
For the 4 billion.
Billion.
Yeah. Right.
Millions, but to billions?
Right.
Okay. It seems like if you really wanted to make a universe that favored us, we would have shown up much earlier. Much earlier. Right. I'm just thinking.
Right.
Just if you want
the argument against that would be that there is no, because God exists outside of time and space, that what we see as 13.8 billion years is not measured by God.
Yeah. However, my issue there is not how long that is, but how long that is relative to us. That's all. That could be short to God.
Right.
But that means we're even shorter. Okay. So it does not
I see
look
what you're saying.
It does not look like the universe cared much about us for most of its existence.
Right.
That's my only point there.
I got you. Okay.
So the multiverse.
We now arrive at one of the most popular arguments in modern apologetics, the fine-tuning argument. The argument goes like this. The physical constants of the universe, gravity, electromagnetism, the speed of light, are perfectly set to allow life to exist. If they were even slightly different, stars wouldn't form or atoms wouldn't hold together. Therefore, someone must have turned the dials specifically for us. We are the Goldilocks species in a Goldilocks universe. Tyson dismantles this with a simple, brutal look at the timeline. If the universe was created for us, the architect did a terrible job of time management. Universe age, 13.8 billion years. Earth age, 4.5 billion years. Human age, about 100,000 to 200,000 years. As Tyson points out, we are a blip, a rounding error. If you were hired to build a house for a family and you spent 13 billion years building a burning, chaotic void and then finally put the family in the basement for the last millisecond of the construction, nobody would call you an intelligent designer. They would call you incompetent. Tyson argues it does not look like the universe cared much about us for most of its existence. He also touches on the multiverse theory as a counter-explanation. If there are infinite universes with different physical laws, we are simply in the one where life is possible. It's not a miracle, it's a selection bias. We are here to ask the question because we can be here. In the universes where gravity is too strong, there is no one asking why is gravity so strong, because they were crushed into a singularity instantly. The fine-tuning argument is arrogance masquerading as math. It presumes we are the goal rather than a byproduct.
All powerful,
Right.
all knowing,
Right.
all good.
Right.
All right. These are common terms invoked. All I can say is that when I look at the universe, an asteroid strikes, rendering, 66 million years ago, 75% of the species of life on Earth went extinct.
That's because they were atheists.
Atheist dinosaurs.
Exactly.
So what am I saying? I'm just saying the universe doesn't look like anyone is in charge of anything.
The randomness of the universe.
The randomness of it. 100
just
years ago,
so random.
100 years ago, before our telescopes were good enough
Right.
to reveal asteroid strikes and stellar collisions and galactic collisions and all this, it was, the beauty and the majesty of this ordered universe.
Right.
I have books that talk about the ordered universe. And then you look closer and it does not look like what people wanted it to be, to match their expectations of the God they're ascribing its handiwork to be.
So it starts out as looking up like, look at this beautiful, ordered universe. And then you look closer and you're like, they shooting at us.
That's right. It's a shooting gallery. It's right.
It's trying to kill us.
Earth plows through several hundred tons of meteors a day in the leftovers of the solar system.
Yes.
Okay?
Right.
Plus, on Earth, if I drop you butt naked in a random spot on Earth,
You're probably going to die.
you're going to die within a half hour.
Yeah.
Drop you in the ocean,
You're going to die.
Two-thirds of Earth and three-quarters is ocean.
Right.
Shark is going to
Drop
take
you-
a bite out of you. You dead.
Yeah.
Okay?
Right.
If I drop you in the Arctic, there's not even land there.
Right.
You're just hors d'oeuvres
For
for
a polar bear.
Polar bears.
Yep.
So we say, well, Earth is a haven for life. After you've built cities and heat and air conditioning and clothing, and this, then we say, look how beautiful Earth is.
If the timeline argument doesn't convince you, the spatial argument should. Tyson invites us to look at the environment we actually live in. Religious texts often speak of the beauty of creation, the majesty of the ordered universe. Tyson says, look closer. Asteroids. 66 million years ago, a rock from space wiped out 75% of all species, including the dinosaurs. Tyson jokes that's because they were atheists, but the point lands. A benevolent designer doesn't throw rocks at his creation. The solar system. Earth plows through hundreds of tons of meteors a day. It's a shooting gallery. Earth itself. Tyson challenges the idea that Earth is a haven. If you were dropped naked anywhere on Earth, chosen at random, you would be dead in 30 minutes. You'd drown in the ocean, 70% of the surface, freeze in the poles, or die of exposure in a desert. We survive not because the Earth is perfect for us, but because we have fought tooth and nail to manipulate the Earth to suit us. We built shelter, we invented clothing, we developed agriculture. The perfection of Earth is a human engineering achievement, not a divine gift. Tyson's verdict is chilling. The universe looks like it's trying to kill us. This observation is fatal to the idea of an all-powerful, all-good deity. You can have an all-powerful God who is cruel, a cosmic sadist. You can have a benevolent God who is weak. He wants to stop the asteroids but can't. But you cannot have a God who is both all-powerful and all-loving in a universe that looks like this. The evidence of the physical world screams indifference.
We did a lot of work to make Earth comfortable for us.
Right.
And so I remain agnostic on this. I'm happy to listen to and look at information, evidence, data that might support an almighty, all-powerful being.
Right.
But the distinction is, if you want to say there's a being responsible for the universe, is that the same being who tells you how to pray, who to pray to, what day to pray on, what food to eat, what food to not eat, and who to sleep with?
And why can't get it right. The fact that there's no uniformity in it is kind of a problem.
Well, it's not a problem for the people who are certain that their God is the one true God.
Well, that's the
right?
The problem. That is the problem.
But because everybody is sure that their God is the one. Not everybody, but many people who are deeply religious in their tradition are.
Listen, I used to be one of them. I'm not. I mean, I have a great deal of compassion for people who are devout, and because
so do I. No,
I know you do. We've
never
had this
been.
conversation.
It's never been a thing.
So,
I just want to openly have a conversation.
First of all, let me just say this, and I'm going to say this in your defense, in front of everybody. This is a conversation you and I have had offline.
Yeah,
people don't think that you have compassion for those who believe. They think that you're hostile to it, and what they don't know is that nothing could be further from the truth. And I've asked you point blank, is it possible that you could ever believe in God? And your answer was yes, and then you gave me the criteria for doing so. So it wasn't all that deep.
Right.
It really wasn't all that deep. I was like, and guess what? And all I could say was, oh.
yeah. No, I gave one example. Like, okay, there's an elevation above which all plane crashes have ended in 100% dead people.
Right.
Okay, the distance that the plane falls out of the sky. Okay, there's an elevation above which no one has ever survived. Okay? Imagine a plane where it crashes above that level and only the Christians survive and everybody else is dead. That things that make you go, only the Muslims survive.
Right.
Only the Zoroastrians survive.
Exactly.
So I could easily come up with a set of that you want to test it several times. Once would not be sufficient.
No.
As in any scientific experiment. But I can come up with, it's not hard to do that.
Yeah.
And so my only point is an emergent sense of spirituality in people because religions have been losing their adherence.
Tyson moves from the physical world to the sociological one. If there is a God, why is his communication so messy? If a single creator made us, why are there thousands of different religions, all claiming to be the one true path? Tyson points out the absurdity. Is that the same being who tells you how to pray, who to pray to, what day to pray on, what food to eat, and who to sleep with? Why can't the creator get the story straight? Why does he tell the Jews not to eat pork but tells the Christians it's fine? Why does he tell one group to worship on Saturday and another on Sunday? The lack of uniformity suggests these are human inventions, culturally specific and geographically bound. If the laws of physics were like religion, gravity would work differently in India than it does in Brazil. But gravity is universal, religion is local. That tells you which one is real. Tyson also creates a brilliant thought experiment about miracles. He asks us to imagine a plane crash. There is an elevation above which no one survives a crash, 100% fatality rate. If, just once, a plane crashed from that height and only the Christians survived while everyone else died, that would be data. That would be something worth investigating. But that never happens. Probability is the great equalizer. Christians, Muslims, atheists, they all die at the exact same rate in plane crashes, in cancer wards, and in natural disasters. The protection of faith is statistically undetectable.
Of religious books.
Oh, books.
Publications.
Yeah.
Everything that Jehovah's Witnesses ever left at my door.
I have that.
There's a shelf of that.
Right.
I have, there's the Quran multiple times.
I have a Quran.
And I have the
Bible.
I have the Torah.
I don't have the Torah.
Yeah, you don't have the Torah. Yeah,
No,
okay.
I don't.
It's mostly the Old Testament.
It's mostly in the Old Testament.
Exactly.
The Levitical law.
So it's there, and I have large King James Bibles that from the 18th century.
I have several Bibles.
Yeah. So I think about this often, and I think about what passages have affected people in civilization and the like. In most conversations I get into with religious people, fact remains, I own more religious books than they own science books.
And you probably know more about their religion than they do.
Well, no, I wouldn't assert that.
No,
but
I would.
I'm just saying I know.
Yeah, you don't. Like, I would.
I own more religious books than they own science books. That's true in essentially every case.
Yeah.
And so I'm not coming from nowhere. I think about it and I care about it.
What most people know about their religion, and I don't care if you come at me or not, okay? What most people know about their religion is what somebody told them.
That's true.
That's what most people know about their
own religions.
Right.
It's filtered. Got filtered.
It's filtered.
Yes.
And so that's why I say you probably know more because you went straight to the source.
Oh yeah,
I
read the text.
Correct.
Most people do not read the text.
I read the text. Okay.
That's what I did.
That's all I'm saying.
Uh-huh.
Be mad at me if you want. Okay.
But that's how I know.
I used to be one of you.
That's how I know
Right.
that Joan of Arc, who's one of my heroes,
Okay.
for standing up for what she believes, trying to get England out of France. She was trying to defend France. And they caught up with her, handed her over to the Burgundians. The region was under control by the Brits. And then the Brits tried her and burned her at the stake. But like, for what? It can't be because she wasn't religious, because she was. Anyhow, go read the transcript of the trial. There's like, was it a third of it, a fourth? There's some large fraction of the conversation about how and why they should burn her that cites the fact that she was a cross-dresser.
Wow.
And where's that in the Bible? I got the quote. It's, a man should not don the clothes of a woman, nor a woman the clothes of a man, lest it be an abomination unto the Lord thy God. So people say, oh, they get their moral code. Generally, it's a cherry-picked set of codes. And you're using rational, really secular thought to say, that's messed up. Right. I'm not going to do that.
Right.
But this is pretty good. Let me do some of that.
Yeah.
And then you bring that forward, and then that becomes your code.
Yeah.
The conversation takes a fascinating turn when Tyson reveals his own library. He owns shelves of religious texts, the Bible, the Quran, the Book of Mormon. He asserts that he, like many atheists, has read these books more thoroughly than the believers. This leads to a discussion on where we get our morality. Believers often claim that without God we would have no moral compass. Tyson refutes this by pointing to Joan of Arc. Joan of Arc is a Catholic saint and hero, but why was she burned at the stake? Tyson checked the transcripts of her trial. A huge portion of the argument against her was that she wore men's clothing. He quotes Deuteronomy, "A woman shall not wear that which pertaineth to a man, for all that do so are abomination unto the Lord." They burned a hero alive because of a dress code. Tyson's point is that we all cherry-pick. Modern Christians don't burn women for wearing pants, usually. They ignore that part of the Bible. Why? Because they are using a secular moral filter to decide which parts of the Bible are good and which are outdated. We don't get our morality from the Bible. We bring our morality to the Bible. We are already better than the God of the Old Testament. As Chuck Nice hellishly acts out, the God of the Old Testament is an angry old white dude yelling, "Get off my lawn or I'll smite you." He's a character who turns women into pillars of salt for looking back. We have evolved past that God, and the fact that we can look at those texts and say, that's messed up, proves that our morality is independent of and superior to Scripture.
Lovely.
Oh, yes, it's very
I love it. It's gorgeous.
And everything.
It's just gorgeous. But all of Christianity, for those of you who think that it's political or it's stopping gay people or it's stopping this person or don't do this or don't do that, all of Christianity comes down to this. Love God with all your heart, soul, and might. Love your neighbor as yourself. How do you love yourself? The way God loves you. Love God with all your soul, heart, and might. That's how you love your neighbor. So first he tells you what to do, then he tells you how to do it. You love him with all your heart, soul, and might. Love your neighbor as yourself. How do you do that? The same way you love God. And that means up and across. It's all your heart, soul, and might wrapped up in love and given to another person. That is Christianity. Anything else is heresy, and you've been fooled.
In a surprising twist, the host Chuck Nice comes out of the closet, not as gay, but as a former Pentecostal minister. He admits that he was a zealot, the guy with the bullhorn on the street corner. He offers a defense of what he believes is the true Christianity, stripped of the politics and the hate. He summarizes it as a closed loop. Love God with all your heart and love your neighbor as yourself. It's a beautiful sentiment, and as a secular humanist, I can agree with the second half. Loving your neighbor is excellent advice. It's crucial for social cohesion. But notice what happened there. Chuck had to boil down thousands of pages of contradictory, violent, and confusing text into 2 sentences to make it palatable. He had to sanitize his religion to save it. While the sentiment is nice, it brings us back to Spinoza. If God is just a synonym for love or community, then why do we need the supernatural baggage? Why do we need the threat of hell or the promise of heaven to just be nice to each other? Tyson listens with compassion. He notes that he doesn't want to take that comfort away from people, but he stands firm. People ask me if I believe in God, and I will not tell you the answer. He leaves it on the table, but the entire conversation has already answered it.
Gotta leave something on the table, right?
Are we done here?
You know what? I'm ready to. Let's take up a collection. I need some money. We need to take up a collection right now.
For this sermon.
That's right. Yeah, Pastor Chuck needs a Mercedes-Benz.
Right. So this was just an explainer, just to catch you up on what might be the latest thinking along the lines of how the universe get here. Was it divine providence or some other way? Those are cool questions, some unanswered. Anyhow, until next time, as always, keep looking up.
The video wraps up with a lighthearted joke about taking up a collection plate, reminding us that religion has always been a fantastic business model. But the takeaway for us is clear. We don't need a creator to explain the universe. In fact, adding a creator just makes the explanation more complicated and full of contradictions. The universe is too hostile to be a nursery built for us. The timeline is too long for us to be the main character. The laws of physics are too indifferent to care about our prayers. Does this make life meaningless? Far from it. When you realize the universe wasn't made for you, you realize how lucky you are to be here at all. We are the universe experiencing itself. We are the product of billions of years of cosmic evolution, surviving against all odds, standing on a rock that is trying to shake us off, looking up at the stars and daring to figure out how it all works. We don't need the God of the gaps. We have curiosity, we have science, and we have each other. As Tyson says, keep looking up, not for a deity, but for answers. Thank you for watching. If you value reason over dogma, don't forget to like and subscribe.